So today we'll go through blockchain and go through the slides for FogChain. So after this video, I hope that you could start working on this project. So first is introduction, and then how to develop and deploy front-end, back-end servers, and then the last is OpenRT. Well, the first introduction. Here is our general architecture of our system. And we have OpenRT model deployed at NTU, and it is communicated through UDP protocol with a control layer, which is right in Python. And well, this part usually you don't have to care much about this part. And then the most of our services are deployed on AWS server, which you may have access to it, and the admin portal and FE portal and portal backend also are all built on AWS. And so actually here is a general architecture. And then if you want to start coding, first you need to know the front end. Well, we have a admin portal. It's GitHub repo. And if you want to start serving this, like if you actually access or if you actually access our admin portal, you have to follow the instructions. If you haven't deployed the backend server at your local computer, then you could also use this production environment in your env files. I could also show you here. This is the env file which you could use. Well, you need to create an .env file in your root directory, and then you have to specify what's your server IP address or other addresses like this, or you can also specify the addresses like to your local computer. It really depends on how you want to develop your own codes, the front-end codes. Okay, so that's the first part of it. And then there are some websites that I suggest you to read through before you start coding, because it would be great, and it would be better for you to understand the structure of the codes. So okay, and then is FE portal. It's pretty much the same like the admin portal, and you could also see the GitHub link here. And when you want to start serving, you also need to specify a server address that needed to start serving at your local environment. And of course, the deployment of front end, we use GitHub workflow, and GitHub workflow is pretty much like a DevOps procedure, and we just specify it in this GitHub workflow, GitHub and the workflow environment. Actually, when you have this kind of file, it will automatically deploy all the codes on our AWS server if you merge to branch, if you push something to branch master. Okay, so here I would like to say that so when you merge to master and or when you push to master, you will trigger deployment. So please do not merge to master without code review. Please start your own branch, and then after code review you can merge to the master branch. Okay, and then is our backend. Of course, this is the URL of our backend server, and if you want to start serving, you have to specify a configuration file, which is shown here. You should run this command at your command line, and then here is the portal backend and our configuration file. This is the configuration file. If this is the dev development configuration file, and this is production environment configuration file. You need to specify which configuration files you are using. And of course, since our backend server actually needs some the MongoDB, right? The MongoDB. So if you really want to make it work out, you have to specify an env file. It's pretty much the same as what you did it's pretty much the same as the FE portal. You have to see, you have to use you have to specify your DB URL and other environments. This has not been deprecated. I will change this README file after this, but you have to specify a configuration file. And also the .env environment, that is very important. And then if you want to deploy the backend server, it's actually it's not the same as the front-end server. The front end, you have to merge to master, and even if in backend you merge to master, you will not trigger deployment. You have to run this command git tag, and you have to tag what kind of what kind of a branch or what current version you are in, and then you just push tag, and this will trigger deployment. So it's also, please do not run these commands without asking our team members, because it's very dangerous to run these commands. It will deploy something on our backend server which will affect other team members in our team, or it will affect some demo procedures. And then OPRT, on this part you don't actually have to care much about it, but I will introduce it anyway. It's actually a control layer that's deployed into you, and you cannot access it from the outside. So actually it handles the information interaction between the portal backend AWS server and the OPRT model in NTU. So there are also something I want to specify here, that is how to access our AWS server through this command. You can add this to your bash RC or zshrc, and I will send this FogChain.pom to you to our Slack channel. And if you see this message when you access our admin portal or FE portal, it says network failed, request failed, it is because there is something wrong with the blockchain backend server. So actually what you need to do is to log into AWS server and run the following commands as docker ps-a, and then you restart the first image, and then all things will work fine. So here I would like to say is, this is the AWS server. So when you so actually you just have to run this command in your command line, and then you run the sh, and actually you got this, and you see all the images, and maybe there is something wrong with the service of this container, and you just docker restart this container, and all things will work out just fine. So this is pretty much how you could start working with our projects.